So, hi everybody. Welcome to the session. I hope I'm available loud and clear to all of you, and you can watch me here. Let me just check on my mobile whether I'm visible to all of you. Yeah, I guess you guys can all see me. And welcome to this session, an important session in the journey that we are undertaking in this course. And this is about this is about managing your internal dialogue, which is one of the important aspects to look at what you need to learn. So I was talking to you about. Are you guys able to see me or not? Krishna, Shaikh, can you people tell me whether you can see me? Yeah, I think now finally I'm able to see myself and hear myself. Can you guys see me or not? Am I visible, audible? Yes. Chalo, good. So fine. So we are talking about. I mean, this part of the course, maybe we are basically focusing on the aspect of again, the focus still is on the what to learn, because once you get the what to learn organized in your mind, then the how to learn comes easily. And the what to learn is the most important aspect of your learning journey, the first and the most important aspect. And as I said, my first focus is to throw light on this aspect of your learning journey. Ki as an adult, how do you improve yourself? What are the angles through which you work, which can improve who you are? So that's where I wanted to talk about this issue for today. And the issue basically is what I continue talking about, models for looking inside yourself. My first contention was that most of what you will find about learning and what you need to learn will be inside yourself. So you have to look inside. And when you look inside, we talked about one of the models yesterday of looking inside last couple of days, and that was the exploration of your beliefs and your belief axis. Which belief axis do you need to work on in the next context? Which belief axis are you picking up for the next 6 months? Which belief axis are your 2020 challenges, etc. सो ये एक बैकबोन मैंने दे दिया है तुम लोग को, एक skeleton दे दिया है on which you can start working to develop yourself. But the second part of it, the second aspect, uh, yeah, I guess Jatin, that's an important observation. Actually, most of what I talk about in terms of learning, this is perhaps our schools should have just equipped us with this information. नहीं तो देखो, बहुत बहुत ज़्यादा एम्फेसिस रहता है स्कूल में फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री मैथ्स पढ़ाने पे, फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री मैथ्स बायो एंड हिस्ट्री एंड ज्योग्राफी पढ़ाने पे. मेरे को एक चीज़ बताओ, जस्ट थिंक अबाउट इट, एंड आई एम टॉकिंग हियर ऑन अ लार्जर फिलोसॉफिकल नोट, कि अगर मेरे को लर्निंग आती है, इफ़ आई कैन टीच माई सेल्फ हाउ टू लर्न एनीथिंग, एंड एज आई ग्रो थ्रू लाइफ आई एम नॉट लर्निंग डेफिशिएंट. मेरे लर्निंग डेफिशिएंसीज को मैंने हटा दिया, मेरे लर्निंग इनएफिशिएंसीज को हटा दिया. डेफिशिएंसीज बोलो उसको, इनएफिशिएंसीज बोलो. आई हैव रिमूव माई लर्निंग डेफिशिएंसीज. मैंने लर्निंग इनएफिशिएंसीज को हटा दिया. मैंने अपने लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटीज को हटा दिया. अगर ये चीज़ों को मैं हटा सकता हूँ, एंड आई कैन बिकम अ स्ट्रॉन्ग लर्नर, आई कैन बिकम अ स्ट्रॉन्ग लर्नर, तो हाउ मच टाइम विल इट टेक फॉर मी टू स्टडी फिजिक्स? मेरे को स्कूल में फिजिक्स नहीं आती थी अगर, तो मेरे को फिजिक्स सीखने में कितना टाइम लगेगा? मेरे को केमिस्ट्री सीखने में कितना टाइम लगेगा? कौन रोक सकता है मेरे को सीखने से? और मेरी लाइफ में अगर इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाएगा कभी किसी पॉइंट पे लाइफ में कि मेरे को केमिस्ट्री जाननी चाहिए, तो मेरे को सीखने में कितना 6 महीने लगेगा जो मेरे को स्कूल में 3 साल लगे थे? हु कैन स्टॉप मी? Unfortunately, learning to learn is the only thing they don't teach you. In fact, they actually systematically destroy school, and the way Indian schooling is held is constructed. I'm very critical of it because they systematically destroy your learning capacities, and they systematically destroy your curiosity. You're not supposed to ask questions, and you are supposed to keep yourself limited to what they teach you, and that's basically one of the tragedies of what we face in life. So coming back to, and I'm glad to see that people like Jatin understand and you're resonating with what I'm saying here. And while people on YouTube still focus more on songs and this thing, I thought that maybe I'll give something valuable, and I basically depend on the simple philosophy that only I'll give you something only if I have something valuable to give. So my cons book, my books on cat were things that I wrote when I thought that I had something valuable to give people who are preparing for those exams. And obviously, my logic has got resonated on that. So this is again something which I thought that was structured because over the last 20 years, with my experiences, I've been able to see success and learning very close, and I have been able to define structures. I mean, a lot of people know these things that I talk about, but because I got lucky because of the fact that I was able to research two major aspects of life. I was able to research learning, and I was able to research success. ये दोनों चीज़ को मैंने काफ़ी डीपली रिसर्च किया with my experiences year on year with my students and my own journey as an entrepreneur. And both learning and success ko I try to analyze very closely. And through that you get your own vision, which are very structured, and you then adopt a structure to it. And that's the point where you start realizing that you have something to give the world. So, so the second model that I want to talk to you about is what the whole focus of today is, and I've named the session today. It's session 6 of this course, and this is about how to look inside, how to look inside yourself. And this second model that I'm talking about is your internal dialogue. It is your internal dialogue, how you talk to yourself. Now, please understand one thing, that outside all the chatter that we listen to outside in our डे टू डे लाइफ, और आजकल तो ऑफ कोर्स चैटर कम हो गया है बिकॉज हम लोग घर से बाहर नहीं निकलते हैं, लेकिन हम लोग जब अपने नॉर्मल लाइफ में जीते हैं तो देयर इज़ अ लॉट ऑफ चैटर ऑल अराउंड यू. You have noise coming from this is your brain, and you have noise hitting it from all over the place. And especially today with WhatsApp and Telegram and people competing for your mind from left, right, center, it's very easy to get lost in all this noise and not listen to the only thing that matters in a lot of situations, and that is the language that your mind is playing. And what I'm talking about to you here also is corroborated by a very important arm of self-development, or you can call it as a very important tool of self-development. You must have heard of NLP. It's neuro-linguistic programming. And what NLP talks about is NLP says that everything in our mind always represents its neurological processes in the form of language. Your neurological processes are always, we have started around 740, quantitative aptitude, whatever your name is. So your neurological processes in the mind get activated through language triggers. So there are specific language triggers that play out in your mind, and these neurological thoughts that your mind has always get expressed in language. And it's that language that defines your behavior, and that language that controls you. This language is what controls you. So imagine a person. Let's take an extreme case. और ये language हर केस में रहता है, लेकिन extreme case अगर उठाते हैं, suppose we pick up an extreme case of a situation. Let's say A is driving a car on the road. Not allowed these days, but चलो ठीक है, let's go back to normal post corona world. And पीछे से B की गाड़ी आती है और उसको यहाँ पे धीरे से टच कर देती है. तो you know what happens next. A उतरेगा, B को झाड़ेगा, उसको मारेगा, पीटेगा, etc. All those kind of things you have seen. Now between the events, once the event 1 happens, and event 2 is A is hitting B or shouting on B, between this, A's internal dialogue has started. So what is happening, the anger that A achieves or creates, the anger that A reaches, the anger point that A reaches, happens in this middle between event 1 and event 2, the 20 seconds that separate event 1 and event 2. These 20 seconds के बीच में the internal dialogue of A has started. वो जानता नहीं है मैं कौन हूँ, चलो उसको मैं देखता हूँ, कैसे उसको छोड़ूंगा मैं, etc. You have seen all that. And you have seen the opposite of, maybe very rare of course, but you have seen the opposite of somebody hitting someone and this guy just driving off. As a rule, I've had a few brushes with people on the road. I always drive off. I never bother to look at what happened to my car. So because you can't I've realized that you can't do anything out of this situation. You're not going to get anything out of the situation. So so ये internal dialogue is what defines your emotions in that picture. It defines what leads you to the kind of actions you're going to lead. And unfortunately, because we are not even aware of this internal dialogue between, I mean, कितने बार, let me ask you, तुम दिन में कितने बार बैठ के अपने माइंड का बात सुनते हो कि वो क्या बोल रहा है तुमको? You're not used to it. And in today's world, especially the WhatsApp, Telegram, multiple news channels, everything hitting you up from outside, all the noise hitting you from outside, the one thing that gets lost is your own internal dialogue. And if you start listening to it, you'll realize that there's so much inside it and there's such a lot of treasure inside it. Because देखो एक simple logic है कि सक्सेस का, और वो लॉजिक ये है सक्सेस का कि अगर तुमको कुछ अचीव करना है लाइफ में, यू वांट समथिंग फ्रॉम द वर्ल्ड, यू वांट द वर्ल्ड टू गिव यू समथिंग, तो यू हैव टू डू समथिंग फॉर इट टू हैपन. सो योर एक्शंस डिटरमाइन द रिजल्ट्स फ्रॉम द वर्ल्ड. तुमको IIM में एडमिशन चाहिए, तुमको 95% चाहिए बोर्ड एग्जाम में, तुमको मैथ्स में 100% चाहिए, तुम्हारा एक्शंस रिजल्ट्स पर डिटरमाइन करता है. और अगर तुमको रिजल्ट चेंज करना है, अगर रिजल्ट तुम्हारा नेगेटिव आ रहा है, सपोज तुम किसी चीज़ में हो, तुम यू आर ट्राइंग टू डेवलप योर सेल्फ एज एन इंडिविजुअल, यू आर ट्राइंग टू कम्पीट इन सम एग्जाम, यू आर ट्राइंग टू डू समथिंग, यू आर ट्राइंग टू अपीयर फॉर इंटरव्यूज, you are late, you are doing something, this thing, and you are not achieving the result you want. So you will need to change your actions. This is basic philosophy of life. Because stupidity is that I keep acting the same way and I keep expecting that my outcome will be different. So if I have been a mediocre average student throughout my life, and my actions, as an average student, there has been a certain set of actions I execute every year in my academic year. If I don't change this action, I'll continue to have the same results. So if I start changing the actions, I'll get my results changed. And the actions are guided by the internal dialogue you have. And that's the whole premise of neuro-linguistic programming. What neuro-linguistic programming says is that what NLP says, what neuro-linguistic programming says is essentially that it's changing the way you talk to yourself, by changing the language in your mind, you can program your mind to start thinking in a different way. And from a loser's thought process or a non-winner's thought process, you can have a winner's thought process. And that is something you'll realize is a very big differentiator between you and me and the greats. So the first step is the realization of this internal dialogue. Now, once you start listening to your internal dialogue, you will realize, and this is my personal observation completely. This is not something you'll get inside books, but I connected two very different thought processes. One was the PAC model one was the internal dialogue model and the NLP logic, neuro linguistic programming, and I connected to that with something called transaction analysis. I connected that to something called transactional analysis, and in my view, I mean, transaction analysis. If anybody of you have read that book, which is the most famous book of transaction analysis, or you come across it, I'm okay, you are okay. Eric Berne is the author. So transaction analysis basically talks about कि हर आदमी में there are three kinds of communications that a person makes: the parent ego state, and every person has the three ego states: the parent ego state, the adult ego state, and the child ego state. The parent ego state, the adult ego state, and the child ego state. So every person has three ego states. And the three ego states basically, when two people interact, if you have an adult to adult communication, then that is the communication that is successful. But if you have an adult talking from this side, if an adult is talking to an adult, if cross communication बोलते हैं उसको, कि there are two people, X and Y. Y is talking from here to the adult of X, and X responds from the parent to the child. So this becomes a cross communication, and it makes for a breakdown of the communication, right? So, for example, any day-to-day situation, suppose let's say this is you, and this is your parent, your father, or your grandfather in front of you, and you tell him, okay, I have studied quite a bit, so I'm taking a break now. You're talking to his adult, and he says, तुम तो हमेशा break पे रहते हो. So that's a parental communication to a child. So this parent-adult child is not the parent-adult child of the child is 3-year-old and adult is 20-year-old and parent is 40-year-old. It's not that. It's not about age. It's about the thinking process and the thinking patterns. But I have applied this. My thinking is that before, and this is a very powerful method to analyze communications between two people. It's taught in management school. When you join B schools, you'll be taught this, etc. Psychology में पढ़ाया जाता है लोगों को ये चीज़. But मेरा analysis ये है कि before you use the PAC model for external communication, you can actually use the PAC model for your internal dialogue also. And this is how I'm going to answer what Shakshi is talking about. You can use the PAC model for your internal communication also, and your internal dialogue also. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Before you understand what that is, please understand what the three ego states are. So the PAC, in my view, is a brilliant model of looking inside. We'll talk about it, Sakshi. We're going to talk about it. If you just watch the whole course, तो तुमको पूरा at least learning का पूरा framework मिल जाएगा. And next month I'll do a follow-up course on success. तो उसमें तुमको second angle भी मिल जाएगा जो तुम बात कर रहे हो अभी. ठीक है, just keep following this space. and do press the bell icon and do subscribe to the channel. Do add the channel as in your subscription list, and some of you can also, if you're on Telegram, you can also join my aptitude channel. It's called Arun Sharma's aptitude channel. You can find it if you look for on Telegram. You can look for it. You can join that, and of course, those of you who want to prepare for CAT, you can also use the Mindworks platform, and we are giving out a free course on Mindworks for people. We're talking about one particular topic to be taught, to be learnt. तो वो उसको तुम लोग अगर चाहते हो तो यू कैन, इफ यू ज्वाइन द चैनल एनीवे, वहाँ पे तुम लोग को मिल जाएगा, और इसके कमेंट्स में भी मैं डलवा दूंगा इसको, उस कोर्स का प्रोसेस को इस वीडियो के, यू कैन लुक एट इट. सो एनीवे, कमिंग बैक, तो पेरेंट एडल्ट चाइल्ड में पेरेंट ईगो स्टेट, चाइल्ड ईगो स्टेट क्या होता है पहले ये समझ लो. तो चाइल्ड ईगो स्टेट क्या होता है? चाइल्ड ईगो स्टेट इज द ईगो स्टेट इन योर माइंड विच इज द फीलिंग्स एंड इमोशन ड्रिवन स्टेट. Is the feelings and emotion driven state in your mind. This is where all the feelings and emotions stay, right? And the parent, and this is the starting ego state that your mind has, and when you're born you have this state, and within the first 6 months to a year, this state of mind starts getting, this ego state of your mind start getting concretized. You start getting happy, you start getting sad, all the feelings and emotions are inside the child ego state. And then the second ego state that starts developing is the parental ego state. तो पेरेंटल ईगो स्टेट में क्या होता है? The parental ego state is the set of instructions that you get. So what happens is when you grow, normally any child, as he grows and becomes, from the date of birth to his first 3 to 4 years of his life, this child gets two significant influences. A normal child will get two significant influences in his life. One is the father, the paternal, and the other is the maternal influence. So what happens is that the parental ego state starts getting formed because the father and the mother, the paternal and the maternal instructions that keep coming to you is the set of instructions of how to live life. This set of instructions come to your mind. This is the second ego state, and before the adult forms, the child and the parent get formed. So when you see a yeah, I'm talking about I'm okay, you're okay book, Prem. So when you look at for example, ये hilarious scenarios हम लोग ने देखा है ना. 2 साल के बच्चे को 2-3 साल का बच्चा, तुम जाते हो, वो तुमको बोलता है मैं तुमको देख लूंगा. Those kind of things. तुम लोग नहीं बात मानोगे तो मैं घर जोड़ के चला जाऊंगा. These kind of this thing which as when you hear it from a 3-year-old child, it is very entertaining also. तो वहां पे उसका पेरेंटल ईगो स्टेट बात कर रहा है, राइट? So वो पेरेंटल ईगो स्टेट इज what is it's basically a set of instructions that have come from a parent and from your paternal and maternal side, and these set of instructions are very critical for your next few years of life. You should wash your hands, you should clean your hands. Most important, this thing, anybody who's telling you in any किसी न्यूज चैनल में तुम देखते हो, they are saying we wash your hands, वो पैटर्नल इंस्ट्रक्शन तुमको पेरेंटली इंस्ट्रक्शन मिल रहा है from people whom you want to listen to, right? You should not cross the road without looking both sides, without making sure you are safe, right? So these are very important aspects yeah. So these are important aspects of your ego states. तो ये set of instructions जो होते हैं, you should respect your elders, you should do this, you should do that. All those are your parental ego states. They're parental. They're part of your parental ego state. And these parental ego states, this parental ego state in your mind. Yes, Prem, I'm talking about transactional analysis here, but what I'm talking about is the application of transactional analysis to analyzing your own mind and how it thinks and how it decides. So this is very critical also. ऐसा नहीं कि parental ego state खराब है. इसके ये अगर नहीं रहता तो शायद तुम 10 दिन जिंदा नहीं रह पाएंगे, नहीं रह पाओगे. Because you should ensure your safety before this thing. You should not talk to strangers. You should not make friends with strangers on a journey. These kind of all kinds of instructions have come. A lot of them very relevant, but a lot of them very outdated also. But the third ego state is and the third ego state and the most important ego state and the balanced ego state is the adult ego state. और adult ego state में logic रहता है. This is where the logic lies. तो तुम्हारा internal dialogue जब तुम सुनते हो, when you start listening to what your mind is, when your mind is, when you're speaking or when you're talking to yourself, and you talk to yourself at different times, and you're trying to hear what's inside your mind, तो बहुत बार तुमको बहुत क्लियरली दिखेगा कि तुम्हारे माइंड के अंदर 3 लोग बैठे हुए हैं और इंडिविजुअल डिसीजंस में ये तीनों इंटरफेयर कर रहे हैं. So let's take a simple example that you are sitting for 2 hours and studying और 2 घंटे बाद you have to take a decision कि do I extend the study session or not. ठीक है. The adult says that I have to complete this job today. I have to complete this much work today. The child says, I want to watch a movie. I want to go out. I want to drive. So there's a direct conflict between the adult dialogue, the adult part of your mind, 3 people inside your head. The parent, the adult, and the child. So adult is saying, I want to extend this by 2 hours. I want to extend this by 2 hours because that's what is required. The child is saying, I want to watch a movie. I want freedom. I want to play. I want to be happy. राइट. और यहाँ पे पेरेंट क्या बोलता है वो क्रिटिकल हो जाएगा अबाउट योर डिसीजन. तुमको पढ़ना चाहिए अभी. If the parent intervenes with that, you should study. If your parent intervenes with that, you should study, which is the parental instruction. So then what will happen? It becomes 2 versus 1. And all your decisions, every smallest to smallest decision to biggest decisions, हर decision में तुम्हारे तीनों लोग बात करते हैं. तीनों लोग बात करते हैं. All these 3. Prem, you can put your response here, or you can put it in the chats after the video, and I'll be glad to respond to that there. So coming back, so ये तीनों लोग आपस में बात करते हैं completely, और तुम्हारा जो internal dialogue है is a mix of these 3. हम लोग को अभी तक क्या लगता था कि एक ही आदमी बात कर रहा है, मेरे अंदर मैं हूँ. बट इसको तुम अगर क्लोजली सुनोगे तो यू स्टार्ट रियलाइजिंग कि 3 लोग हैं. पेरेंटल इंस्ट्रक्शंस शुड नॉट फॉर्म में आएगा. एडल्ट ईगो स्टेट मस्ट के फॉर्म में आएगा, मस्ट नॉट के फॉर्म में आएगा. इसका टिपिकल लैंग्वेज ये रहेगा. और child ego state, want, do not want आएगा. So imagine you're on a diet and you want to go get off, or you want to get off a habit. Let's say you have a habit of drinking soft drinks, and the doctor has told you कि नहीं पीना चाहिए इतना. तो parental instruction मिल गया तुमको. Your mind is telling you should not drink soft drinks. Your adult is telling you must not drink soft drinks. Your child is opposing it. I want it. इसके बिना मेरा काम नहीं चलता है. And it insists and insists and insists. So even though it is 2:1, the child will win because it is adamant. So every decision that you take, smallest decision, ये next glass of cold drink मेरे को लेना चाहिए कि नहीं अभी, to a decision about, suppose you are talking about a decision about whether I want to leave a job. Should I switch my job? I've worked for a company for 3 years. Should I shift my job? You might have a parental instruction. You should not shift too often. Should not too often. You have a child which is saying, इसमें मेरे को मजा नहीं आ रहा है. This is all part of your internal dialogue. Not enjoying. And your adult is trying to evaluate the logic of the job shift and is saying that the next job is a much bigger opportunity. I must do it. तो ये जो इंटरनल डायलॉग होता है उसमें कौन जीतेगा will be something that you need to improve on, and you need to start making the adult win more often than the parent and the child. At the same time, you should not bottle the child completely. तुम अपने child ego state को completely bottle कर दोगे तो you'll be very very दुखी, you'll be very very sad, which you should not allow yourself to be. So you'll find some people who go overly one-sided onto the adult ego state. वो इतने strict हो जाते हैं और इतने adult और parent में ही जीते हैं लोग. So they will be so strict and so logical that they will stop enjoying life totally. वो करोगे तो you are bottling up the child inside you, and when you start bottling up the child inside you, what happens is you don't give your child an outlet. So the child will be very unhappy. So what will happen is that the child ego state will come up with some very very bad reaction after being suppressed for some time. So you have to give your child, you have to manage your child ego state. You have to give it continuous outlets. So keep watching movies, keep playing, keep watching, keep listening to music, keep dancing, keep doing stuff which your child enjoys. Because a happy child inside you, happy child ego state inside you, allows the adult to work without interference. A sad, morose, depressed child will keep interfering every moment in your decisions. So I found this method to be a very very strong way to actually extend the live session. It's continuing, ना? कोई खत्म तो हो नहीं रहा है live session. Shubhankar. So as I said, I found this to be a very very powerful method to look inside myself. It's a very structured, powerful method to look inside myself. Because every decision I take, there are 3 people talking inside me. तो जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक कंपनी में मैं ट्रेन कर रहा था. What's happened to the live feed? Let me just check. So I was once training a group of people in a company, and उस training के बाद I was talking to, I had some personal mentoring sessions with the people involved there. So there was this guy who came to me and in a social context across lunch, and he said कि सर मेरे को ये कंपनी जो है 5 साल बाद छोड़ना है. after I finished 5 years. So I said, why? Why do you want to take 5 years to finish it off? Why do you want to take? अगर तुमको छोड़ना है तुम डिसाइड कर चुके हो कि यहाँ पे तुम नहीं कर रहे हो काम. पर नहीं सर, मेरे पापा ने मेरे को पहले बताया था कि मेरे को 5 साल पहले जॉब में रहना चाहिए, तो मैं 5 साल का कंप्लीशन करूंगा, उसके बाद ही छोड़ूंगा. So this statement from his father, spoken in a different context, might be a totally different context, is something which is almost like a sentence for him. It's like a prison sentence for him, and he's taken it like a prison sentence. So that's what I mean. And the biggest problem with the adult ego state, and as I said, the programming in the adult ego state is very important for you. The parent ego state का programming बहुत important है, because उसके बिना तुम जिंदा ही नहीं रहोगे. If you don't have an instruction that you should not drive your car at 150 kilometers per hour on a busy road, ये instruction तुम्हारे mind में अगर नहीं है, जैसे कुछ लोग के mind में parent ego state में ये instruction नहीं रहता है कि you should drive your car safely. So when they drive on the road, you see the kind of accidents they do. So that's a clear indication of people who are not restrained by the parent ego state. So something as simple as you should be careful with fire. It's part of the parent ego state training. So without that, you will not live. You should not play with snakes. It's part of this parent ego state training. So if you analyze your mind, the way your mind is, it can be split into three parts: the parent, the adult, and the child. And the parent can be split into two parts: the paternal and the maternal. So now, ये जो instructions हैं, the paternal and the maternal, you should and should not. Ultimately, the reason why many times this becomes a big sentence for us is because of the fact that these instructions have come to us from our parents, who themselves had three ego states. They had their own parent, adult, and child. So if you talk about the parental ego state, your father's parental ego state, it came from your grandfather. And now we are talking about 60 years behind in life. You're already talking about from 2020, you're talking about to 1960. And then if you look at where the parental instructions from your grandfather came, he had the parental ego state himself, which he transferred to your father, who transferred that thought to you. And you're living in 2020. In the 2020s, you're living life with instructions that your grandfather got from his father. Maybe a relevant, very valid parental ego state instruction in 1930, which you are trying to live with in 2020s. So this is the problem of the paternal ego state, and parental ego state, and you have to be careful to continuously evaluate. And you should always keep evaluating your parental ego state and try to see, are there some defects inside it. So for example, if your parental ego state has programmed in you that I should not take risks, I should not take risks in life. So this might be very important for you when you are on a mountain or in a valley or near the sea, where you don't want to go very deep because you don't want to take risks. But in the context, suppose यही चीज तुम इस parental ego state को apply कर देते हो अपने career में कि मैं रिस्क नहीं लूंगा, तो three major opportunities which would have given you this in your life, you miss. And you never realize that where you missed out on what you could have become. So you have to take these parental ego instructions very, very, carefully and with a pinch of salt. Right? So the answer to what Hiranmay is asking, not get affected by anything external, is basically when something external hits your mind, when something external hits your mind, if you allow the child or the parent to respond, they will always affect you. But if you go back to an adult ego state and allow the adult ego state to operate, you will be completely in control. And see, as I said, the child ego state happens when you are 0 to 1 years old. It starts from that, and it continues till you are 80. The parental ego state gets formed by the time you are 3, and it continues till the time you are 80 or dead. The adult ego state forms at the last in your life, and it starts getting formed at 5, 7, but its major concretization happens in the age of 15, 17, 18. That's when your adult ego state starts building. That's my personal experience. Scientists might differ, but ये मेरा personal experience है, and ये logic मेरे को बताता है. And this continues till the time you're 80 and beyond, whatever time you live for. So age का ये relationship है इसके साथ अखिल. तो ये adult ego state जो है, इस पे respond करोगे हिरणमयी तो तुमको सब answers आ जाएगा. So I remember this incident that I was I was with Meenakshi ma'am driving a car, and I was in Lucknow at that time, and there was this guy who this road incident. So there's this chap, there was this circle, and this chap driving, and somebody coming from here, and इस आदमी ने थोड़ा सा छू दिया उसके गाड़ी को, और उसके बाद ये आदमी यहाँ चला गया. तो this guy went here, stopped the car, created a traffic jam, went all the way to that guy. And I was on the same signal at that time, and I had stopped there, so I could see the whole event. And what I realized was this person who was driving this car was around a 65, 70-year-old gentleman, and this guy was a 30, 35-year-old youngster. And what I could, the next events you can imagine as much as I can tell you. ये जाके उनको थप्पड़ लगाने लगा. So I just started smiling. Of course, it was a bad incident for this person, but I started smiling and I said, "Bechara." My immediate reaction was "Bechara." And ma'am was next to me, and I told her, she realizes this by now, and she realizes this by now. So I told her that मैं बेचारा किसको बोल रहा हूँ? मैं इस 30 साल के आदमी को बोल रहा हूँ बेचारा. मेरे लिए ये बेचारा नहीं है, मेरे लिए ये बेचारा है. क्यों? क्योंकि इसको तो चलो थोड़ा बहुत इंजरी होगा, फिजिकल, वो घर जाएगा, 2-3 दिन डॉक्टर के पास जाएगा, 1 हफ्ते बाद ठीक हो जाएगा. लेकिन इसके तो माइंड में ही प्रॉब्लम है, और ये जब इसको होगा ये चीज़, तो इसका पैटर्नल ईगो स्टेट कितना डिस्टॉर्टेड है, इसको पेरेंटल ईगो स्टेट कितना डिस्टॉर्टेड, इसको पता ही नहीं है. और इसका तो मेरे को तो अगला 3 जनरेशन में दिक्कत दिख रहा है, बिकॉज ये आदमी जो है अपना जो पेरेंटल ईगो स्टेट है वो ट्रांसफ़र करने वाला अपने बच्चे के माइंड में, और उसका बच्चा उसके बच्चे के माइंड में ट्रांसफ़र करने वाला है विदाउट इंटरफेरेंस, बिकॉज इतना दिमाग तो है नहीं इसको कि ये सोच ले कि मेरे को ये नहीं करना चाहिए. तो इसका तो अगला 3 जनरेशन गया. सो दिस इज जस्ट अ वेरी वेरी क्या बोलोगे, हिलारियस वे टू पुट इट, बट दिस इज एक्चुअली ट्रू. बेचारा तो वो आदमी है जो 35 साल का जो मार रहा था उसको. Because as I repeat, that 65-70-year-old person को क्या होगा? थोड़ा सा खून निकलेगा, थोड़ा सा इंजरी हो जाएगी, 4-5 दिन बाद he'll live and he'll go to the doctor, he'll be okay. But ये कहाँ जाएगा? ये अपने माइंड को कहाँ ले जाएगा? ये अपने parental ego state को कहाँ ले जाएगा? And if his parental ego state is so distorted and so vicious, where and how is going to go this thing? So दो words आते हैं. I'll stop with these two. एक word होता है delusion. Which you need to understand. और दूसरा वर्ड होता है illusion. Illusion is when your child contaminates your adult. तुम रिस्पॉन्ड कर रहे हो, तुमको लग रहा है कि मैं एडल्ट के फॉर्म में रिस्पॉन्ड कर रहा हूं, लेकिन एक्चुअली तुम्हारा चाइल्ड रिस्पॉन्ड कर रहा है, एंड योर चाइल्ड इज टेकन ओवर योर एडल्ट. The child contaminates your adult. It's called an illusion. A lot of people live in these illusions. right? It's an illusion. A child contaminates your adult, and delusion होता है जब the parent contaminates your adult. So you are taking a decision assuming that you are in the adult ego state, and you are taking a decision based on what you think is logic, but your parent contaminates the adult. Or a child contaminates the adult. So you have to be careful and you have to understand these two things. And if you want to become a better person, you have to recognize the voice that your adult ego state is bringing in at every point of time. And you have to give it more weight. You have to give it the largest in this courtroom. ये almost courtroom battle के तरह है. तुम्हारा parent, adult and child is almost like a courtroom battle between three people. To make sure that you give this guy a slightly exalted state. First, learn to recognize when this is speaking. इन तीनों के dialogues में differentiation समझो. And learn to analyze when this guy is speaking. Let's learn to realize when this guy is speaking. Give it a little bit more weight. Parent के साथ क्या करना चाहिए? Parent ego state के साथ you should evaluate the parental instructions that you have in your head, and you should critically evaluate each one and see whether it's relevant or not in different situations. I should not take risks is very. I'll come to Prasanna's question. What consists of addiction? I should not take risks is very important when you are in the sea and playing inside the water in the sea. But I should not take risks, as the parental ego instruction is very damaging if you are talking about career moves and taking decisions as an entrepreneur. So if you have this I can't take risks and you want to be an entrepreneur, it's not going to happen. You are not going to be successful. And the child ego state के साथ approach क्या होना चाहिए? The child ego state को बंद करके नहीं रखना चाहिए. You should allow it to open up. You should give it its freedom. And on a weekly basis, every day, not just weekly, every daily basis. तो हमने चाइल्ड ईगो स्टेट को बोलोगे 6 महीना आप कुछ एंजॉय नहीं करना है, वो रोने लगेगा और तुमको सैड कर देगा, और सैड कर देगा तो तुम कुछ नहीं कर पाओगे. तो कीप गिविंग द चाइल्ड ईगो स्टेट इट्स फ्रीडम, कीप गिविंग it its outlet, always keep giving its outlet. Give the child what it enjoys. It's almost like oxygen for your mind. So a happy child stops the interference. Make the child happy. Keep it happy. You will become a better person. You will become a more positive person. Keep the child happy and start listening to adult and refine the parental instructions you have. This is where it all comes up. So I can show you a small text from my book, The Equation of Success, where I've talked about this. तो ये उसका good. I've talked about I've जैसे parental instructions की बात होती है, तो I've talked about the good parental instructions. Be careful on the highway. Very important. Drive slowly, drive with caution, be good to elders. These are unambiguously good parental instructions. But अगर तुम ये मेरे book है Equation of Success से है. As I told you, I'm going to relaunch that with a fresh edition very soon. Not very happy with the way my publishers published it, but it's available on Flipkart and Amazon. Once things become slightly better, you can order it also. But or you can wait for the fresh edition to come from my side. I'll be pulling it out of my publishers and do it myself now. Because as I said, I was not happy with the publishing of this book. So anyway, coming back, the double-edged instruction, as I said, always obey your elders. Double-edged है. तुम्हारा एल्डर कोई बेवकूफ़ी कर रहा है, तुम्हारा एल्डर कोई बदमाशी कर रहा है, तुम्हारा एल्डर कोई क्राइम कर रहा है, तो वो भी थोड़ी करना चाहिए उसको. ही इज टेलिंग यू टू जंप इनटू अ वेल, यू शुड नॉट ओबे हिम. डोंट आंसर बैक. वेरी डैमेजिंग इन लॉट ऑफ सिचुएशंस. डोंट स्पेंड मनी, सेव मनी. हाउ विल यू लिव लाइफ एज एन एंटरप्रेन्योर इफ यू हैव दिस माइंडसेट ऑफ डोंट स्पेंड मनी? इट्स डबल एज्ड. सम सिचुएशंस वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, इसके बिना जिंदगी नहीं चलेगी. लेकिन अदर सिचुएशंस में अगर ये माइंडसेट बना लोगे तो इट विल बी वेरी रॉन्ग. Don't open up to strangers. You'll become very closed as a person. Sometimes it's very important to be closed. But if you have this instruction, every time you are meeting new people, you're closed. So it becomes a personality trait. Sleep early and wake up early. Double edged hai. What if you have a night shift? This is what I talked about in the context of that specific instruction I got, right? Spend at least 5 years in your first job. It was crazy. That guy told me कि मेरे को 5 साल बिताना है इसमें. Always obey your boss. This is from the chapter Learn to Learn. Always obey your boss. हमेशा बॉस सही थोड़ी होता है. You have to disobey him at times. Study all the time. Double edged. Your child will become unhappy. Don't have fun. Fun is wrong. Don't spend too much time on the internet. आजकल 90% काम इंटरनेट पे हो रहा है. Show him who you are. उसको दिखा दो कौन हो. ये तो नॉर्मली इनकरेक्ट है, नेगेटिव है इंस्ट्रक्शन, लेकिन कभी कभी पॉजिटिव भी रहता है. किसी ने तुमको चैलेंज कर दिया कि तुम ये नहीं कर सकते हो, तो मैं तुमको दिखाऊंगा मैं कौन हूँ, मैं करके दिखाऊंगा. इट्स पॉजिटिव. So this was what I wanted to talk to you about. I hope you guys enjoyed this today. No, Shubhankar, that's not true. Your parents can be your best friends once you can get over your distrust of each other, and they should become your best friends by far. And as you grow older, they do become more and more friendly with you. So, any queries, any questions you have? I hope you liked the session, and uh, it was lovely being with all of you, and I will keep Krishna, no cat related and no maths related stuff here, please. We have different things here. Akash talks about addiction. वो मैं भूल गया. Addiction is basically an illusion. Your child contaminates the adult. The child contaminates the adult is illusion. Child contaminating the adult is the illusion. ठीक है ना? हाँ, तो you are talking about cat. You can't solve permutation combination. Maybe you should first do those classes that I took, and first refine all those this thing. ठीक है. QA for banking has a lot of errors. कुछ रहता है, मतलब in spite of my best efforts कुछ errors आ जाते हैं. So if you want to mail them, you can mail them to me and I'll get it corrected. ठीक है ना? और मैं इसको एक बार चेक भी करवा लूँगा. चलो, so I hope you guys enjoyed this session and got something strong here. Thank you so much. So I'll wind up for today. Thank you so much. Bye bye.